totaling 36.5 million. Layoffs or furloughs. Last week, another 2.981. Just a remarkable months of pandemic layoffs totaling 36.5 million. Layoffs or furloughs. Last week, another 2.981. Just a remarkable number. Again, these numbers have been slowing a little bit each week, but are still devastatingly big numbers. And when you look within these numbers, you see retail layoffs, hotel, restaurants slowing a little bit each week, but are still devastatingly big numbers. And when you look within these numbers, you see retail layoffs, hotel, restaurants, bars. The Fed chief yesterday giving this statistic that of the households in February that were earning $40,000 a year or less, 40% of those households lost a job in March, and those job losses have continued pretty steadily here, Tom.
All right, Christine Romans, thank you. Stand by with us. Also joining us, CNN anchor and correspondent Julia Chatterley. And that figure that Christine just read, Jerome Powell testifying 40% of those in households earning $40,000 a year lost a job in March. An economy can't work like that.
And he made this point. I mean, this was about as graphic as it gets, I think, for a central bank governor, saying it's just tough to put into words the amount of pain that this is causing. It's a burden for many people across society, but it's hitting the poorest in society the worst. It comes at a time, as we discussed yesterday, of food insecurity. It was a warning, I think, to everybody. It was also a call to action from a central bank governor saying to lawmakers in this country, you need to do more. You may have gridlock at the moment over more spending, but there is simply not enough for all the trillions of dollars that have been put into the system here. There's not been enough done. This is an unprecedented situation. It couldn't have been more graphic, John.
Look, it was as close to begging as I've ever seen a Fed chief do. We have some sound from that, so let's play it.
The record shows that deeper and longer recessions can leave behind lasting damage to the productive capacity of the economy. Additional fiscal support could be costly, but worth it if it helps avoid long-term damage and leaves us with a stronger recovery.
Help us now, Congress and White House, seems to be what he's saying, Christine.
Yeah, costly but worth it. Don't be worrying about the price tag here, because what the recovery looks like on the other end depends on what Congress is doing right now. We know that Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, has said, let's go big. There's a $3 trillion House piece on the table here. We know that House Republicans and the Senate Majority Leader have said, let's just slow down here. Let's see what's happening. Mitch McConnell, ironically, whose state has the highest percentage of the workforce out of work right now, he has said he doesn't feel an urgency at this moment to spend big again. But the Fed chief begging, saying, look, you can't put into words the pain these families are feeling, and what Congress does today is what the recovery will look like in the months ahead.
You know, Julia, I keep on wondering, we're about 2 weeks into Georgia relaxing some of its restrictions. Other states are doing it as well. When or how will we see any signs that this necessarily leads to jobs coming back?
This is such a great question. I've looked at some estimates who've already suggested that we've seen about 5 million jobs come back already, but it's just going to take some time. We know that what we saw from the unemployment rate on Friday, it's just lagged by a couple of weeks at the very least. So it takes time to see the jobs being added back and then being captured within the statistics. We're still going to see this unemployment rate rise when we get the data for this current month, and then I think you'll start to see improvement. We're always behind the data. I think that's key, but of course we're also behind on the science here, John, too, and it just takes time to get a sense of how consumers are going to behave overall. There's still fear out there.
That is the point, that reopening in and of itself may not create jobs.
Right.
It's the consumer sentiment, Christine Romans, and the feeling that it is safe that might lead to jobs coming back.
And the polls have showed us that people are very cautious right here. Many polls have shown us that people aren't quite ready to go back to normal just yet. And so it will depend on how these states and localities, and frankly individual businesses, how they conduct themselves on the reopening. One quick point I'd like to say, Congress knew, lawmakers knew this was going to be bad. The Treasury Secretary, remember behind closed doors when he was warning senators earlier this spring that could see 20% unemployment? They knew it was going to be bad. That's why they passed that extra unemployment benefits. There are many people in this country, John, who are making more today on the jobless check than they would have at work. So we're hoping that money is going to help cushion some of these most vulnerable people.
Christine Romans, Julia Chatterley, nearly 3 million new jobless claims, 36 million people filing for unemployment in 8 weeks. Unbelievable.